Yes, sir. Let's go.
In 1960, I was working on a painting, and I got disgusted with it and threw it in the trash. And my wife said, "Why did you throw that away?" And I said, "Because it's sickening. It's disgusting, and I can't acquire what I'm trying to." And she said, "Well, what are you trying to do?" And I said, "I want, when people look at my paintings, I want them to say, that's right, that's how it's supposed to look. Or if it's a living being, like a horse or something, I want them to say, that looks real." And I said, "And this thing is not coming close." And that's why I threw it away. And she said, "Well, I'm keeping it." Anyway, she said, "Who do you know that paints like you like?" And I said, "Peter Hurd." And she said, "Well, do you have anything that shows how his work looks?" And I said, "I've torn some pages out of a magazine that had an article on him, and it shows some of his work." And she said, "Well, I'd like to see it." Well, I went and got it and handed it to her, and she said, "He does do wonderful work." She said, "And I can understand why you feel that way now." And she said, "Why don't you call him and talk to him?" This is back in the time when you had deals you could call anybody and get their number. And
you dialed 0.
yeah, and I said, "Virginia, he's nationally known, and he won't have time for me." And she said, "All he can do is tell you he doesn't have time." And she kept on till I called him, and I have never regretted it.
Wow.
I talked to him for a good while, and he was one of the nicest people I've ever listened to. And he said, "What is your problem?" And I said, "Well, I like the way your paintings turn out, and the way you're trying to get a point across, you make it plain." And I said, "I love your work." And he said, "Well, what medium are you using?" And I said, "Oils." And he said, "Throw that stuff in the trash." And he said, "Get you some egg tempera. Do that." And I said, "I don't even know what egg tempera is." And he said, "Well, I'm going to help you find out.
Wow.
I'm going to show you." And for 24 years, he helped me every way under the sun. He wouldn't take a penny. He wouldn't let me pay him. He invited me out to his ranch in San Patricio, New Mexico, and I had a ball.
I think he told you to bring a painting,
He
which
did.
made you nervous.
He said, "Anything you run up against," and he sent me a book on egg tempera, and I still have it. And I wouldn't take $1 million.
Yeah, what book was that? He said it was translated. Oh, no, sit back down. Just
Okay,
do you
I'll
remember
get
the
it and
name?
show you.
Okay, we'll take a picture of it.
Okay, all
what
right.
what was the? Do you remember the name of it?
The book? No, it's
Okay.
the title is like information about egg tempera
Okay.
painting is what it is.
And your sons knew how much you loved that book so much that they actually engraved your name on it. I believe for one year. For
my brother did.
Your brother did
yeah,
that.
he
Okay.
did. But anyway.
So you had to go. You got to go to the ranch, and you brought a painting, and you told me something funny. You left it in the car.
Yeah.
So tell me what happened there.
Anyway, he said, he invited me out to his home, and he said, "When you come, you'll be pretty far along with egg tempera, and I want you to do a painting and bring it with you when you come."
Wow.
Well, I went in. I was so anxious to visit with him and everything, and to see inside his studio and everything. I did that, and he said, "Did you bring a painting?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And he said, "Where is it?" And I said, "I left it in the car." And he said, "Well, go get it." And I went and got it, and this is it right here. This is the original. This is not a reproduction.
Yeah.
It is not a print. It is the first egg tempera painting I did, and it is right here. And it's over 70 years old now, and
You
I
just
won't
wouldn't
change a
sell it
thing.
because he actually advised you on this painting.
He did.
Not?
Yes, he
So
did.
he stuck. You told me he looked at it for a long time.
He did.
And then what did he
I
say?
said, what do you think? And he said, I love it, but I want you to do one thing for me. And I said, okay, what is it? And he said, you remember how people used to put wallpaper on their walls in their house? And he said, this one doesn't have any, and I want you to find some you like, and use that as an example, and put it on the walls of this painting. And I did it. And I've never regretted it, and it made the painting better. And
it's just stunning, honey.
I'll
So
tell
over
you
the
what,
years, Peter would write you would write him with a question, and these letters, guys, will be included with this video.
Yeah.
And he would respond via the letter. And
he responded every time. Sometimes he would call me on the phone,
okay.
but a lot of times he wrote letters. And I kept the letters, and I've still got them. And
You wouldn't give $1 million for him. You said you love him.
I wouldn't take that for him.
Right.
And I will have them till I die.
Sure.
And my youngest daughter has taken up egg tempera painting, and I'm leaving all my stuff
To her.
because
wonderful?
she loves it, and I do too.
And she's heard the story of Peter Hurd, and I'm sure she loves him
She
as
knows
well.
every bit of it.
There was something else that was important that I wanted to get out. Yes. The last time that you spoke to him was in 1980. You told me something. 84.
1984.
And he's getting Alzheimer.
Yes.
And at that time, he asked you to do one thing for him.
Yes, he
Because he
did.
never collected a dime from you for all of his time
No,
on
he
this.
would not
And he
take-
could have, because he was making
would not-
tons of
he-
money.
He refused money.
Okay.
He refused it. He said, I don't want, but you can do something for me.
What was that?
He said, you are younger than I am, and you will still be here when I'm gone, and I want you to do something for me. And I said, all right. He said, if you will pass on to everyone that will listen, egg tempera painting, I will be paid.
Oh.
I will not want another thing. And to me, that was the most wonderful thing.
Because you said art it's brought everybody that you love into your life.
I'll tell you what, because of my art, I have opened a whole new life and a whole new existence of people that I love. And I think God gifted America with art, and the world for that matter, so they could look at something they enjoyed looking at, and other people like to look at. And I'll never change my mind about it.
And so, since that day, you have always, anybody interested, and now you're on a vigor, like we're about to teach classes at Lost Pine, you teach people here, and even including me, I'm in the middle of doing my very first painting, thanks to you, and the medium is yummy.
I love it.
It's just luscious. There's something about it, and it's just luscious.
Yep.
And so we're very grateful to your wife for telling you, look, just pick up the phone, you dumbass, and do it anyway. It doesn't matter. Let's pick it up. And so we're going to honor her right now. Tell me a little about your lovely bride. When did you marry her? And she left us last night at midnight. And so this is on the next day after that horrifying, sad event.
Yeah.
But we're prepared. We were prepared for this day. But when did you marry?
We married February the 12th in 1955.
Okay.
And
Had 4 or 5 children.
I could not have had a better
wife.
I could not.
Did you have 4 or 5 children with her? I can't remember what you told me.
I'm
Or
sorry?
3 children?
5.
5 children
5
with her.
children. Yeah.
And what did you do as a living? Because now I know you make money doing this, but what did you do back then to raise your kids?
When my children were young, and it took a lot to support them and
Sure.
keep them fed and everything. Well, I went to work in newspaper business. Before it was all over, I owned my own newspaper. I did everything in the world, all the writing, everything. And in the meantime, I did my artwork.
Just kept
And I used the newspaper to articles about my art and wrote stories about it, and it helped.
Yeah, sure.
I put the two together, and they worked wonderful.
That's how I do mine too.
And
that's wonderful.
Also, I got into book making. I made some books. I wrote some books, and I did books about egg tempera, about painting, and I can't explain to anyone how much knowing Peter Hurd has done for me. And I wish everyone who loves art could have known him. There was not a better man, a more gracious man ever lived.
Wonderful. He changed he changed the trajectory of your life, did he not?
Everything about it. Yes. Yes.
Honey, this has been a brilliant interview. I thank you
you.
so much,
Thank you.
and I'm so sorry for your loss. But we're going to keep moving, and we're going to keep doing art together,
Good.
and it's going to be great.
This is over 70 years old. This painting is.
And I don't think you let it sell because Peter Hurd looked at it and touched it,
No.
did you?
Well, not only that, this was my wife's father's lamp and Bible.
And your wife loved it.
Yeah, she wouldn't let me sell it.
No, no.
And I've not wanted to sell
No, it's beautiful.
it. I don't want to.
We thank you so much, sir, and we're going to call this a wrap for now, and more to
Thank
come,
you.
guys.